Hi, I'm back. Let's now turn to the learning model of the course. Basically, the learning objectives of the course are simple. We will provide you in this course with a toolkit for understanding the policy-making processes and politics of healthcare in Ontario. These are very complex organizations, and therefore you need a three-part framework in order to understand them fully. And the main learning objective of this course is to provide you with a good understanding and ability to apply that three-part framework. What this will do is give you techniques for dealing with the complexity of the Ontario healthcare system, and once you've understood it, elevating your understanding of that complexity into simplicity. So let's turn to how you're going to learn in this course. The course consists of a combination of lectures plus a large collection of really compelling video material which will illustrate the main points of the lectures and allow you opportunities to think about their application. In addition to that, of course, we will point you to some texts on the internet which you can read to supplement your understanding of the lecture material and the videos. A major part of the learning model of the course is a series of short quizzes that you will take after each of the major sections of the course. What these will do is to allow you to pin down and consolidate the learning of each of the sections, and you will be required to get at least 70% of the quizzes right in order to proceed to the next segment of the course. At the end of the course, you will do a final exam, which will consist of items that have been taken from all the short quizzes that you have done during the course. And if you get 70% of these right, you will earn a certificate of completion in the course. Of course, you can take the quizzes many times, so if you don't get it right the first time, you can take them again. All the quizzes and all the answers have been randomized so that you can be presented with the opportunity to take the quizzes more than once. Now, Oliver Wendell Holmes was a famous justice of the Supreme Court of the United States. And what he said was that when you're faced with a situation of complexity, jumping straight to a simple answer is not a very good idea. So he said, I would not give a fig for simplicity on this side of complexity. On the other hand, having dealt with complexity, what he suggests is that on the far side of complexity, you need to return to simplicity. So that's essentially the philosophy of the learning model of this course. The framework for this course was developed by Professor Graham Allison, who was the founding dean of the Kennedy School of Government at Harvard University. So Dean Allison studied the Cuban Missile Crisis, and he wrote a wonderful book called Essence of Decision. Essentially what that book did was provide a three-part framework, which we are going to use in this course, for analyzing the Cuban Missile Crisis when the United States and the Soviet Union almost came into conflict with each other in a nuclear war which would have destroyed humanity the way we know it today. So basically, Allison's work suggests that you start out by analyzing the actions of the United States and the Soviet Union in what he calls the rational actor model, which says that each of these two governments acted as a single rational actor. Oftentimes, we personify that in terms of the leadership of that time, that is President Kennedy and Chairman Khrushchev. However, according to Allison, the rational actor model is incomplete in its explanation because he says that you need a second model, which he called the organizational process model. Basically, it says both the United States and the Soviet Union consists of large bureaucracies and large elements of the military, and therefore these bureaucracies use a different kind of logic in arriving at policy decisions. This is what's called the logic of satisficing. We will cover all of this in more detail later on in this course. And then finally, both these governments have political activities. In the United States, there's the politics of democracy, and of course in the Soviet Union, there's the politics of the Communist Party. And putting a political lens on the Cuban Missile Crisis provides us with additional insights. So what we propose to do is to take you through each of these models in terms of their application to the Cuban Missile Crisis, so that you understand the substance of the model from the Cuban Missile Crisis. And then we will turn to the situation of healthcare in Ontario and apply your understanding of that model to Ontario. So you'll learn the model in terms of its application to the Cuban Missile Crisis. You'll learn the application of the model to Ontario in terms of healthcare in Ontario. And at the end of that process, we will ask you to do a bank of quizzes which will test how well you have learned the application of Model 1. And once you've done that, we'll ask you to turn to Model 2, same process, first the Cuban Missile Crisis, and then turn to Ontario and look at how the organizational process model works in Ontario, and then a quiz at the end to test how well you've understood that application. And then finally, we'll do the same thing with the governmental politics model, starting with the Cuban Missile Crisis, but moving swiftly to the politics of healthcare in Ontario. And then at the end of that process, you will have a final exam in which you will be able to pull together your understanding of the entire process.